fun in other circumstances, but promised this, and here we are. So, hi, by the way. Back in the car. Unfortunately, not bowling today, which, a little bit of a spoiler. Didn't make the cut, so it... I don't know, where to start. Things both went very much as I expected, but also very much not as I expected at the same time yesterday for qualifying. Scoring pace was actually a touch lower than I thought it would be. I think the cut was plus 30 for 6 to make it to the cashers round, which was this morning. And I shot 249 clean the first game. So I was actually through 10 frames, I was feeling pretty good. I had a couple of iffy shots that were just nerves and adrenaline game one. But got my feedback under me, had a really clear picture of what my starting pair was doing, had a really good ball reaction. My reality looked great first game. And, I mean, I missed the head pin, spare, strike. Missed the head pin, spare, strike. 7-pin spare, and then like a 6-bagger. I think I 10-pinned on my fill for 249. Really, really good game one. I was really happy with that. And then just... honestly, game two, the wheels kind of came off a little bit. Really got lost in terms of my picture of what the lanes were doing. Pair to pair, I struggled a lot with pair to pair yesterday. And then I had a string of probably 4 or 5 shots in a row in game two where I missed what I was looking at by 2 or 3 ports of the arrows. And you can't miss right that much on Shark and get away with it. So that definitely punished me. I shot 149 second game, and that was pretty much a deserved score, honestly. And then after that, realistically, I can count on one hand the number of shots the last 4 games that I wouldn't want back. Ended up going, what was it, 2-0, 160, 2-10, 2-0, something like that. I finished at minus 16 for the block. And that was with me being minus 2 after 2 games, and I think I got to plus 9 after 3. So I was kind of right around there the last few games. It definitely... I did never completely fry out. I never gave up. I actually went 0 missed makeables for the block, unless you count missing washouts as missing a makeable, which I don't really. I missed 2 washouts. I chopped a 3, 6, 9, 10, and I think those were the only non-splits that I missed all day. It was a grind. And it didn't have to be. It honestly, a lot of the day for me felt like I wasn't actually able to see, I could see that what I was doing was the wrong thing. Because I knew that there was misroom out there, and I knew I didn't have it. Which, out in regionals and stuff like that, if everybody else has misroom and you don't, then you're just doing the wrong thing and you need to do something else. The problem I had was, I think this is a combination of, I didn't really have anybody around me directly I could talk to kind of bounce ideas off of and figure something out. But also, this is the first regional I've bowled in 4 years. It's the first regional I've ever bowled on a really long pattern. Shark's 48 feet. So there's that. And combination of all that, I wasn't seeing my shapes correctly. I couldn't see what I needed. I knew what I was doing was wrong. I struggled to figure out what was right. Never really felt like my equipment held me back, which is a very good thing. I cycled about half the stuff I brought with me. I threw my reality game 1, threw my insight a little bit game 2, threw 3 shots with the high road X, and it was just not at all right. And then I used the phase 2 and the synergy quite a bit. And then, of course, plastic. So it was about what I expected usage-wise from the equipment in terms of what I ended up using. It was humbling, honestly. Last night I was not a very happy camper. It was because I felt like I bowled execution-wise a lot better than I scored, and the gap was just me literally having no clue what the play was on the pattern, which that's not something I've felt in on anything in probably a year plus, not to this extent of just being this lost. So I'm leaving with more questions than answers right now. I just hit the road from grabbing breakfast with a friend of mine before I head back towards Raleigh. I'm leaving with more questions than answers, but I have questions that I know with time I'll be able to find the answers to those questions, and find out like even how to go about answering those questions. So getting kicked in the teeth isn't always fun, but you know, I came down here to learn and to grow, and I think I did. I may have honestly gotten a little kind of carried away with expectations after the practice session. But after practice, I was thinking, like, if I do my part, I'd have no reason to not cash at minimum. And I think this is kind of just a little bit of a wake-up call. You know, I've got a lot more learning to do for bowling on long stuff, in particular, because it's not something I see very often. Seeing the angles that I needed to throw, like the angles I needed to use, like I could see them, but executing that was a little tough at times. And the moveset is very different. Like, just managing ball motion when the fronts are hooking that much is not something I'm the best at, because with how I get out of the ball, my ball just sees the lane very early relative to most bowlers. So I have to get better at that. Once I figured it out, I was able to repeat shots, but it was figuring out what I needed to be repeating that was the big bugaboo this weekend for me. So, learning experience for sure. Wish it could have been a better result, but I mean, I'm sitting here complaining and frustrated about my own bowling, and I still finished in, 80th out of 172 bowlers and barely went minus. So it could have been a whole lot worse than it was. So, something to build on. Definitely got a lot of work to do. But yeah, it is what it is. It's not fun, but honestly, I'm trying to kind of remember too that the best way, like, you have to have the not fun days sometimes to be able to really appreciate the fun ones, and that's just kind of how the cookie crumbles sometimes. So probably gonna take it a little easier this week. Just kind of continue to rest and kind of refocus mentally a little bit. I do think taking a few days off this past week was good for me mentally, just to kind of reset a little bit. Got one of my summer league starts on Tuesday, so I'll probably bowl then, but other than that, take it a little easier. But yeah, headed back towards home. Frustrated, but not upset, if that makes sense. So, something to grow on, something to build on, and yeah, onwards and upwards. Time to figure it out and go whack them the next time. So, till then, Shimwrecker out. Peace.